Hello guys, it's quite late outside. I was busy. I had an opportunity to talk a lot today and I came home late. My voice is warmed up. I took some water with me. I realized when my throat is sore, when it's dry, it's kind of harder to speak. So I took water this time. The feedback remains the same, which means focus more on my mouth movements, my eye contact, my pronunciation, and my pitch. Besides that, I wanna try to use different words. Again, I saw myself repeating the same words over and over again. And that's it. Let's start with the word of the day, which is exempt. Exempt? Gotta check out the definition. What is that? Exempt, free from an obligation or liability imposed on others. Should we just call it irresponsibility and call it a day? What if we change the word into something I know? Waste. Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing with our time, with my time and your time. Waste. Let's start with something easy, something uncomplicated, understandable, which is just natural waste. Our Earth, every year, we're kind of wasting a lot of water and food. I do not have the exact statistics with me, but I know 1/8 of the food we have, or even more, is being wasted. And when it comes to water, it's even more waste. Actually, we don't even have access to clean water in most of the countries. Yeah, like literally. I remember we had a text about water waste in school a few weeks ago. It's kind of weird, we had this text about water waste in school on the English class in the 12th grade. Like, it's completely unbearable the level of information they put in for the level of education we have. It's like a text for 5th graders. Why did they give us to read that? Anyway, what I was going to say is the water waste we have, it's quite big. If people will not stop wasting the water, they will keep overusing it. Basically, by the next 5 years, we're gonna have a huge water shortage, something like that. I'm sad I cannot recall the exact words, but I would much rather say you should drink more water. That is really helpful. And now the star of this subject, wasting time. Yeah? What do you know about wasting time? We like to do that. It takes no energy, feels fun, it's unobservable. We do not even notice how we are wasting time sometimes. And what do I understand by saying a waste of time is when you want to do something, but the time you dedicated to doing that thing is being used for something else, which is to say procrastination. This is the major definition for a waste of time, because that's a problem I encounter really often. I know a lot of other people also encounter that problem with procrastination. It's very popular and overwhelming throughout the world. And yeah, it's hard to deal with it. I myself have huge problems with time management because it's enough to open your settings and check the screen time, and for me it's anywhere between 4 and 6 or 7 hours. Sometimes it's 7 hours. And when I look at that, I realize wait, that's a lot of wasted time. Not in the way that I'm going to school and the time is sometimes wasted anyway, and I just decide to stay on my phone during that time. No, it's when you get home, you wanna do homework, you wanna do something else, you wanna read something, and then you enter the wrong app and you end up wasting a lot of time on that app. We have this concept called doom scrolling, which is pretty much scrolling not because you like doing that, but because you're kind of addicted. It's more of a habit. It's a rabbit hole, a trap. And how do we deal with that? I personally put a time limit on free apps that take most of the time, and the time limit is not 1 hour or something, it's 10 to 20 minutes. And yes, it actually helps me. Sometimes I delete the time limit to enter the app to check the notifications, but then I instantly leave the app and put back on the time limit. Not the best way to do that, but it's still better than nothing. Some sort of screen time management is very useful and welcomed. I did try to empty my workspace, which is just deleting all the distracting stuff from my workspace, so that I know when I sit here, I have to work, I have to do something. And my Google is pretty much 1, 2, 3 pages for reading, another 3 temporal pages that I'm going to delete pretty soon, and another 2 pages that I will delete in a few days or weeks, probably. And actually, if you look at that, all my tabs on Google are not for distracting. They are either classes, books, or some learning material. And the first thing I do when I turn on my PC is actually opening Google. Sometimes I have Anki, and when I just wake up, I turn my PC, I gotta do my Anki, and I launch it from my desktop. My desktop is also clean, so I've got nothing to distract on. Even if you have some games, you can delete the shortcuts. Way better. In general, procrastination is not a monster you have to fight off. It's more like a game of circumstance. And if you just delete all the possible distractions, all these circumstances that are going to make you procrastinate, then it will be not 100% effective, but it will be very helpful. We usually have a choice between two options. I do this or I do not do this. Our brains were wired to pick the easiest option. And if to do something for me is easier than to not do something, I will do it. If not doing something is easier than doing something, I will not do it. Sometimes the option gets different variation. I do that or I do something else. I stay on the phone or I read a book. I play the guitar or I watch the TV. Now imagine what would happen if the TV remote either doesn't work or is in a different room and the guitar is right next to you. It's totally easier to pick up the guitar than going to fix the remote or standing up and going to the neighboring room. That's why I'll naturally just choose the guitar. Or in my case, instead of looking what should I do, instead of opening tabs on Google and searching for something, I have the easier option, which is one click to open an existing tab, and I can just straight away go do something. Our brains, they hate boredom. And when you put yourself into the idea of boredom, when you feel you're bored to death, your brain will be ready to do anything. And that's the amazing part. If your choice is either read a book, even if it's physics, computer science, anything that you do not like, or you think you're bad at, and the other choice is to do nothing, just stare blankly in the camera, in the ceiling, on the wall, at some point, doesn't matter what you choose, but at some point you will finish, you will get to the point where you will start reading the book. It will be sooner or later, but you will start reading the book willingly. And I'm saying that because I also encounter a lot of struggles and distractions. Sometimes I really have no desire to do something. Even editing the video, adding the subtitles, reading the same book I was talking about, I just sit here on my workplace, on my desk. I'm looking and I cannot find the willpower to start doing what I wanted to, what I sat here for. And in these moments, I have a choice for myself. If we are being completely honest, I do not do this all the time. There are a lot of times I simply forget to do that. And yeah, it doesn't always work, but I've noticed it actually helped me. And matter of fact, I did do this technique half an hour ago. It's quite simple. Let's use another word. it's quite feasible. The easiest choice we can give ourselves is I'm staying here. I either do what I wanted or I go to sleep. No other options. That's an idea from Dr. K, a very good psychologist, therapist. He was talking about maintaining the focus. One of his videos, and he was saying how he used to study when he was in med school. This was also taught to him by his father. He would either sit and start studying or he would go to sleep. If you do not feel like you have the powers to study, you are tired, go and sleep. If you do not want to sleep, then don't waste your time, study. Once you finish studying, you can do what you want. Also, imagine when you're trying to read a book and you're feeling it's useless. It's no use because every sentence you read, you have to read it again because you did not understand, you did not remember it. Or you're just feeling sleepy, nauseous, your eyes are closing, they're sticky. And physically, mentally, you do not have the power, the resources to keep going. Go sleep and rest. I really love this technique called NSDR, an abbreviation from non-sleep, deep rest. Because that's literally what it does. Non-sleep means you don't sleep. Deep rest, you are resting. Staying out there watching a movie, a TV, a series is not resting. Staying on the TikTok, social media, doom scrolling, this is not resting. This still requires our brain to put in effort and energy. That is not resting. Going to work out, sleeping, just meditating, doing nothing that requires you to think, that requires your brain to use energy. That is resting. And going back to the NSDR subject, you can look up on the internet just NSDR session. You have headphones, great. You don't, just take a nap. I do not have headphones, or better say my headphones are not working, so I just put the speaker on, literally some lo-fi, jazz, any music without lyrics, and I lay down, I close my eyes for 10 minutes. You can be conscious during that. 10 minutes is still 10 minutes. You can fall asleep. But you set your alarm for 10 minutes, 15, at most 20 minutes. And by the time it rings, you wake up, you feel way more energetic. You feel refreshed, ready to do it again. It feels like a 2-hour-long quality of sleep. And it is very effective. I've heard neurobiologists, neuroscientists talk about that, and that's where I got the idea from, and I like doing it. I've been enjoying. Quite sad we had to finish such an interesting subject right now, because I really got in the mood of talking more about it. But also I ran out of water, and as a quick summary and recap of what we've been saying is don't waste food, water and time. Out of these three, all of them are important, but time is the most important. It's the easiest one to waste and the hardest one to recover. The biggest enemy is our procrastination. In order to fight off our procrastination, we have to make our life easier. We have to simplify, take out useless things, give us easier choices, and to make the desirable action or behavior easier than the undesirable one. Give yourself choices. Do not limit, do not restrict yourself. Do not try to use your pure willpower, because even the strongest discipline has its own ups and downs. You cannot stay disciplined and well contained all the time. If you have a distraction, you will be very likely to be distracted. I've been catching myself staying on the phone during the homework or anything, or even reading, just because it is here on the table. Just the presence of the phone makes my attention span go uncontrollable. And what do? I take my phone, I throw it on the pillow, and I turn my back to my phone. Because now I do not see it, and I find it way easier to concentrate during that. Once again, we're not any superhero. We're not Superman, we're not Flash, we're not Batman, we're not Spider-Man. We cannot just force ourselves to be better. Sometimes we gotta make it easier for us. That's what I've been trying to say. Make it easier for yourself. If you have a choice between an easy way and a hard way, you don't necessarily have to go the hard way. Which means, do not try to fight procrastination just by wanting to do that. Do some small changes in your life that will help fight off the procrastination. And this should totally help. Maybe you have problems with wasting your time, just like me. Maybe you don't. In this case, I'm actually really happy you don't face such problems. But anyway, I really hope you can solve it yourself. You can find your own way of combating that. And good luck.